It's Hardman here with episode 3. I'm speaking to a close friend of mine, David Dennett, all the way over in Scotland. He's a musician himself. He's a radio presenter and he does all these interesting festivals and things like that. So, David, introduce yourself, tell people what music means to you, and yeah, just tell me a little bit about yourself.
I suppose the quick answer to this is music means that I can eat, which is always nice, and pay bills and stuff like that. No, I'm just kidding on. I'm just kidding on. No, my name's David Dennett. I am on the unhappy side of 45, racing towards 50, and I've been a musician all my days. I first took to playing the piano round about the age of 5 or 6, and I've been doing it ever since. I play the piano, the guitar, and stuff. I've been very fortunate that I was able to spend 6 years of my life singing full time in a nightclub in Glasgow. It became one of Glasgow's kind of top night spots. And I made a career. I was able to live the dream, I suppose, to a certain extent, and give up the day job and just sing full time. But no, music it's just been a big part of my life. I always say when you're a proper musician, it's not what you do, it's who you are. You know,
Awesome.
I write music. I love being around music. I love being surrounded by musical people. Hence, one of the reasons that you and I know one another, Hardy. I love promoting music. I love letting people hear. Um, I, I, I do the show on Lomond Radio, the Talent Spotlight, and I must admit, from a purely selfish point of view, musicians from all over the world send me their songs to hear first, and I must admit it's great because I get to see what everybody else is up to. Not that I steal ideas or anything, but if something comes along that's exceptional, I might consider it. But no, it's always been a huge part of my life.
Awesome. That's good to hear, man. And tell me a specific reason why I wanted to chat to you is about your own music career. You really recently released a song called "A Story About a Man Turning Grey," and I've listened to the song probably like 50 times already, and I really enjoy it. And let's talk about the song. The first thing I want to ask you about the song is like the very first verse of the song. You say some words and made me think a little bit. Would you say the first part of the song is maybe a message to a younger version of yourself? And explain that to me. And
I think a lot of the song came from my background. Again, I've spent pretty much most of my life from the age I was able to walk into a pub or a night spot singing in them. And I think to me, the start of that song, when I say that you may know me, for I am just the same as you, um, it is what it says in the tin. I'm basically saying, I'm just a working guy out doing a job. We all work so hard nowadays. We run around daft. We have to pay our taxes. We've got to raise our families. In Britain just now, we're going through a cost of living crisis, where the prices for everything are going through the roof. And I think for me, it was just that reflection. I've seen it so many times where you're sitting playing in a pub and there's what we would call the good old fashioned Glaswegian kind of bar flies. There's that guy that's always at the corner of the bar. He's there every Friday night, hail, rain or shine, drinking his beer. When I make reference in the song to dreaming about the kinds of men they always meant, the idea I kind of had in my head is, what it's like, guys all together in a pub watching maybe the football or the rugby or the sport and talking about how they could have done that when they were younger and how, and that was the kind of story. So I think it was a reflective piece for me in the fact that I just wanted to discuss basically a bit about the human condition. Again, the story of a man who's turning grey. You've seen the colour of my hair, Hardy, and lo and behold, it's grey, and I'm sporting a kind of grey beard just now, so I'm starting to look more like Santa as we get close to Christmas. So it's all good.
awesome. And tell me, what influenced you other than the story? Because like the song is phenomenal. So everyone checking out this video and stuff, really check it out. It's a really cool song. What inspired you musically? Not lyrically necessarily, musically, because you've got this nice piano piece playing, and you've said that you've been playing piano for quite a while. So what influenced you to write the piano piece and the music behind the song?
So that's an interest. This song actually, I put some pressure on myself. Now, I used to be quite a relentless writer. and I used to write constantly. And I went through what you would class as, you've probably been there yourself, that kind of traditional dry spell where you feel as if you've not done anything creative in ages. Now, the whole song was actually born out of the fact that I was actually holding an event. There was a thing called Lomond Radio Live where we took over a venue in Dumbarton and we put a load of live acts on all day. And as part of that, I was expected to perform. I was presenting the day, I was the sound technician, I was running about daft. And I had one of my other radio presenter friends there, a young chap called Ross Coots, and we were kind of running the day together. But what I decided to do was the song actually was born out of a challenge I set myself 5 days before the concert. I said quite openly on Facebook, on social media and various things, I says, do you know what? I'm going to write a brand new song. I've got 5 days to write it and it'll be ready for Lomond Radio Live and I'll perform it on the day with the piano. And that's exactly what I've done. I sat down, I put my head to it, I played about with some chords, and that's how that song was born. As I say, it was actually, I don't know if that's what made it so reflective. I think I was going through maybe a wee bit of a writing crisis myself, and all of a sudden, the fact that I'd put that pressure on me, it started making me, you know, to be a good songwriter at times, you need to write about what you know, and the best thing to do is maybe write about the position in life you find yourself in. And I think that's what I did in that case. So it wasn't a planned thing, but I just decided to put myself under. Sometimes as you get older, it's quite easy to get quite comfortable, and I actually felt that giving myself that 5 day window to say, right, I'm going to write something brand new from scratch, and it's going to be performed at a festival or a day-long concert in 5 days' time. It brought me alive a wee bit and maybe just kicked a wee bit of a spark in me again.
Awesome. Yeah, well, um, I don't know about you, but I also tend to do these little like deadlines where I sort of like tell people like I'm gonna do this. And then now I've already told people. So now you don't have much of a choice. And quite quite a good technique to get things going. And tell me what does the future hold for David Dennett as a musician? Are you going to be doing some more songs or
Yeah, well, this is the thing, right? So I'm very much a live in the moment musician. I don't really tie myself into a specific genre. So yes, the story of a man who's turning grey is very much the big kind of piano ballad. However, I did recently make revisited my youth, shall we say, and I went to the Prodigy's opening night of their new tour in the Hydro in Glasgow recently. And I feel that it's actually really reignited my kind of old EDM dance roots where spent a lot of time writing in my youth, kind of techno, trance, that type of thing. So to be fair, and it's amazing again how something can create a wee spark in you. I have basically produced 7 brand new tracks in the last 3 weeks,
oh,
all EDM and dance tracks. And I'm getting to a stage now where I've sent them to some friends who are more kind of akin to that genre, and said, "What do you think I should do with these?" And every one of them's come back and said, "Release them." So I think we're going to actually I'm maybe going to try and get to a 10 track album before the new year. And again, just set myself a wee deadline, and I'm going to try and release it mid-January.
oh, that's awesome. Well, I'm
And
excited to hear that.
Aye. And it's amazing how I've got friends that jump on board within an hour of me announcing that I was going to go for it and then release it. A good close friend of mine, a gentleman, Mark Rhodes, who I've known since I was a kid, started primary school together. He's already designed the artwork. In fact, I'll send you a picture of it over. He's already designed the artwork. We've already got the album title in place, and so it's going to be. I don't know if you remember the kind of climate change film that was made years ago that won Oscars called An Inconvenient Truth.
Yeah.
It was the American vice president made this big, huge kind of speech. We've decided to call it David Dennett, An Inconvenient Youth,
Oh, that's
because
awesome.
he's no longer young. But I so that's what it's going to be. That's what that's. So yeah, I'm actually going to have an EDM dance album out. There is another project going on in the background as well, but this one's been a bit of a slow burner. Actually, one of your fellow, I don't know if you came across Federico Fernandez at all.
No.
He's from your neck of the woods. He sent me an album worth of backing tracks that he's created. Right good guitarist. And he has asked me to put lyrics and a vocal to them. We've kind of finished one track, but it's been a bit of a slower process with that one. So I'm hoping that'll be finished probably the latter stage next year. But again, that's going to be a good. That's actually going to be more like what you do with Diverted Disorder.
Oh,
But it's just me putting words and lyrics to it. Although I won't be doing the kind of growling kind of thing that the proper rock musicians do. My voice is far too high in camp for that.
yeah. So talking about that, speaking about your voice and stuff, like myself, I've got a South African accent. You've got a quite a strong Scottish accent. And listening to your music, it's sort of like your accent changes a little bit when you sing. So, is there a reason for that, or did it just happen? Or tell me a bit about that.
I think a lot of Scottish people do it, and I think it's because with the Scottish lilt on accents, it's very hard to make words rhyme. I think first and foremost, what you've got nowadays as well is you've got a lot of people doing the kind of Paolo Nutini kind of forced Scottish accent, and that seems to be really popular. So you either go really forced, like the Proclaimers and like that kind of thing, or what you do is you do almost Americanize your accent a wee bit. And I think it's something that Scottish people always done. What I find is when I start to sing, I start to develop more. It's a Celtic lilt. You can tell that I'm not English, but
Okay.
it doesn't sound like Scottish. You can tell it's somewhere in the Celtic regions, think Scotland, Ireland, and that's I'm curious. But don't get me wrong, the other thing I've always said about this years, and again, I think it comes back to my background. When I sang my residency in a nightclub for years, as I say, there was a place called the Shanghai Shuffle in Glasgow. It was an immense success back in the day. It's been running now for best part of 30, 20, I think it's 25 years this year. And I was the original resident in there. Um, and what basically happened in there was it was a huge, big, kind of elaborate karaoke party as such. It was you could dance on the chairs, dance on the tables. Now, I always said I was the one that got all the credit for the success of the place, but I was probably the weakest singer in the team. And what it was I was a decent mimic. So I
Okay.
could sing Neil Diamond quite like Neil Diamond. I could sing Robbie Williams quite like Robbie Williams. And that's what I was known for. I could do rap numbers, like I could rap to the Black Eyed Peas and stuff. I'm very good at recognition. I suppose I could have probably made a decent what do you call it, impressionist, if I'd really worked at it. But that's what you find. So a lot of folk, like when I was doing the festivals at the weekend there in Helensburgh, I'm just in the middle of kind of winter festival season in Scotland, and I done Robbie Williams' Angels, and I got sometimes you get the loveliest things. I'm standing singing on an open air stage, and somebody walks up and hands me a big kind of hoagie kebab thing because he loved the fact that I sounded dead like Robbie Williams when I sang Angel. So his gift to me. So I'm standing on stage singing, and somebody's just walked me up with this big wrap thing with kebab meat and chips and all that in it. And I'm like, yes. Um, it's safe to say I troughed that as soon as I got off the stage. That went down absolutely tremendous. But yeah, I've always said that my voice changes from song to song, but I think it's because I'm not used to mimicking and trying to sound like other people. But I think that comes back to my background because I was 6 nights a week for 6.5 years.
Okay.
It was heavy duty.
Oh, that's awesome. So talking about like you were talking about the guy that walked up to you with this thing and everything. So Scottish people, like we spoke a bit about it before, has a type of different humor that's quite funny in a lot of ways. You were talking about a statue where someone put a cone on the top of a
Oh
statue.
yeah, that's a Glasgow landmark. And the cone on the statue, yeah, in Royal Exchange Square. I mean, it's middle of one of the poshest squares in Glasgow. And there's this huge big statue. I'm sure it's Lord Nelson, and he's on top of this horse and stuff like that. And somebody put a cone on top of its head, a traffic cone. And now, for the best part of at least 20 years, that traffic cone gets replaced every week. And it's been constant. Yeah, you'll see that the pictures if you go onto Glasgow websites, it's probably one of the first things you see. Glasgow's an amazing city. You have to learn you've obviously probably, you mean, you'll have heard of Billy Connolly, right? Now, Billy Connolly always said, he made a career out of being one of the funniest men in the world. But he admitted he learned how to be funny working on the old Clyde shipyard. And he said he wasn't even the funniest person that worked there. You know, and look at what he went on to. But yeah, Glasgow crowds were very, very welcoming. I mean, I always say, as long as you spend more than 2 hours in Glasgow, you're basically by default Scottish. You've just been accepted into the family. Um, but when you're playing to crowds in Scotland and when you're playing at festivals and stuff, everybody's oh, I mean, again, today I was everybody wants to take part. I mean, today I was in Glasgow Central Station. I'm doing a run of kind of charity busking events just now for a big cancer charity here. And I do it every year. I do various events for them every year. So tomorrow I'm in St Enith's Shopping Centre singing in the shopping centre tomorrow. And that's my last day of it before Christmas. But on Sunday there, I was in the main train station in Glasgow, and it was cup final day for the football. So you can imagine the train station was rammed. And at one point, I had everybody singing, you know, Oasis, Don't Look Back in Anger, and everybody was joining in. Today, I was back there again today, and halfway through my set, a lovely young lady called Gabriella, she was yay high, maybe about 8 or 9's, come up and went, could I possibly sing Silent Night to help the charity too? I'm like, there you go, darling. I gave her my microphone. She sang the first verse. She looked round at me kind of nervously and went, is it okay if I do the second verse in French? And I went, of course you can, darling. And everybody's cheered and she sang and everybody in the thing. It's a very, very welcoming city and stuff, random stuff like that happens all the time. You know, it's really quite magical. I've been brought up in the outskirts. I'm brought up in Ballochloch Lomond. I stay there now, but I'm only maybe about a 20-minute drive. Glasgow is not a big, you know, Scotland isn't a big country, you know, it's not like where yous are, you know, where there's days worth of travel. You know, you can basically go from the north of Scotland to the very south of England in basically a day if you drive long enough, you know, that's it. Um, but it's a magical city. The sense of humor is tremendous. If you ever get a chance going to TikTok, there's some things that people put on TikTok, and it's just proper Glasgow tweets, and it's funny things that Glaswegians have said on Twitter, and they're absolutely brilliant, you know. But there's something very endearing. I've always been lucky enough to be part of that nightlife circuit, and I'm kind of accepted in that. But to be fair, it's just that there is just something that you can't quite. There's a even the lead from the Prodigy said it. He says we started our tour in Glasgow. He said because we knew it would gee us up for the rest of the tour. That was what the lead singer for the Prodigy said. He says we started here. We chose to start our return gigs here because we knew it would gee us up for the rest of the tour. And we just know how to party. I mean, the Prodigy gig. The return, and it was obviously the Prodigy's first appearance, minus Keith Flint, who sadly committed suicide. The tribute to Keith was unbelievable. I mean, there was more lasers than Star Wars, you know, there was laser lights and they burnt basically a big etching of Keith onto the back of the stage using these lasers and stuff. But Glasgow audiences, we paid respect at the right time. We danced, we enjoyed ourselves, we sang. I mean, they played Firestarter, and we weren't sure how they were going to handle Firestarter without Keith. And what they did was they basically just went like that. Do you know what? We're not going to sing it at all. We're just going to play it and the crowd will sing it. And that's exactly what happened. It was unbelievable. But no, as I say, I'm looking forward to, obviously, on a side note, you know, I'm looking forward to getting you guys over here so you can experience it. But that's a
Yeah.
conversation for it. That's a whole other conversation piece. But I'm looking forward to getting you guys over here, so that you can experience firsthand. Again, we're going to enjoy what we do while you're over here. But I think bringing you to Glasgow and Edinburgh and all that, and bringing you to Scotland, I think they're going to love you.
Yeah, yeah, no. So that's a little project. Me and David we're working together on it. Um, we're planning a little bit of a UK tour with David Dennett, and I think it's going to be insane. This guy, all the work we've done together, we've obviously this is not our first time we're chatting. I just love this guy. Every time I talk to him, I just have a great time. And yeah, like I see we're coming to an end with our time. So please check out David Dennett, check out his music. He's also a radio presenter, a really good one, and he plays really good music. And he's so diverse. I haven't met presenters that is as diverse, that can play one moment can play like heavy metal, and then the next moment can play a pop song.
My attitude on that is quite simple, Hardy. I'm not there to judge the music, I'm there to present it. As long as it's of good quality, the only thing I've got to stipulate is if anybody's sending me in music to the station, which is, of course, submissions at lowmanradio.co.uk, all I ask is there's no swearing. I've got to, the law says that if we play loads of words with sweary words in it, we get taken off air or we get heavily fined. But I've had everything on. I mean, I've had rap, I've had rave, I've had Christian gospel, I've had. If it's just a good quality, as I say, my job is exactly as you say. It's a presenter. I'm there to present the music to people, whether you like it or not. That's your decision to make. I'll just present it in its best possible light, tell you a wee bit about it, and go, what do you think? And I've always, because it might not be my cup of tea, but the next person might think it's the best thing ever.
Yeah. So if you've got some music, submit it there to Love and Radio. I'll put the link up below all over the place. David, it was so nice speaking to you. You must definitely post some more of your music that's coming out now, the future album.
Yeah,
We are
to be fair, I will be. You are, of course, by default added to my list of trusted people. So I'm going to be sending you all these dance tracks shortly to let you have a wee listen. Because I've went right out there. It's proper trance and stuff like that. So I have went quite out there. Some of it's quite poppy as well, but I'll be sending them over to you.
Oh, awesome. That's good to hear. I'm super excited. Till next time, see you guys soon.